Hi, and thank you for joining me for day 12 of 30 Days of Sketches with Christie's Beautiful Life, round 11. And today's sketch, which you can see in the top right hand corner, is from Ashley, the Scrapping Nerd. And it's really interesting. Straight away when I saw those circles, I decided that I wanted to stitch that. So I've decided to go for some pattern paper background this time, which is unusual for me. If you've watched me in the past, you'll know I don't often do this. But I wanted to scrap these two pictures of my children with Sophie, Leanne's daughter, in Disneyland Paris. And they're in front of the Princess Castle, which is pinks and blues. So I wanted to bring pinks and blues in, and I wasn't sure which papers to use. And it was only looking through Fernwood, which I'd used on the previous day's layout, that I saw that this was actually perfect for these Disneyland photos. So it just goes to show sometimes you don't need the themed papers to make them work with your photos. And I certainly wouldn't have thought of Fernwood as one for pinks and blues, but there you go. So I've just cut 1/2 inch off each side of this beautiful pink dotted paper, and I'm going to mat that onto some white cardstock. I'm just pulling up the edges of my tape so that I can get it anchored down, and if I go wrong, it's not all going to adhere. So I said 1/2 inch. It might be 1/2 inch on each side. Let me just check that. Yes, so I trimmed 1 inch off each off two sides, so it was 1/2 inch around each side, if that makes sense. So just sticking that down, and then I'm going to come in with this blue polka dot paper for one of the strips that Ashley's got going down the left-hand side. So I'll start with the blue polka dot, and then I'm going to bring in a black and white stripe, or black and cream stripe, to go underneath that. That one. And I think these papers go really nicely together, and they certainly match well with the photos that I've got there. So just trimming this a little bit bigger than the navy blue piece. I do everything by eye, so I can't tell you the sizes, I'm afraid. And then those are going to be popped down there after I've distressed the edges, of course. So just checking that I'm happy with the colours and things. And look at how well that goes. I was so happy with that. So now I'm going to distress the edges and then get these glued together. And this was a really fun layout for me to do. It's very different from what I normally do, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. The photos that I've used here are 3 inches by 4.5. And these were trimmed down again from 4x6 photos. I just trimmed down the excess. Like I've said in previous videos, if you watch me, I'm trying to get through some of the photos that I've got pre-printed before I go on to printing more. I think I probably will get bored of the subjects and have to print some more recent photos soon, but it's nice to work through this pile that I've got ever growing. And they seem to be in little piles everywhere. You think that you've started to make a dent, and then you find another pile of them. I've got boxes of photos and all sorts, so trying to work my way through. These are ones that Leanne had taken. I took a load, and then when I saw her the other day, I said, oh, please will you send me your photos from Disney, just so that I've got them. The ones that I took, we've got in a Project Lifestyle album of all of our family holidays. So I'm just working through the other photos now, and I should probably go back to some of those that were in the Project Life and scrap those as 12x12, but at the moment at least I know that they are scrapped and in an album, so I'm not worrying about those too much. So just get it, now I've got that down, I can start to work out what I'm going to do along the bottom of the layout. And it looks in the sketch like Ashley's got tickets or labels, so that's what I'm going to focus on. So first of all, matting my photos on some scrap white card, just to define the edge of the photo there. And then once it's down onto the white card, I shall mat it onto some pattern papers as well. Just unclogging my glue. It's very annoying when that happens. And then matting these down. And again, at the moment, I'm favouring using my scissors rather than trimmer, just to get things matted and carry on with my scrapping, and using my edge distresser to hide all of the imperfections in my hand cutting. So that's one done, and now moving on to the other. And you can see these are scraps from where I've cut things on my silhouette, and I always keep the offcuts to use for things like this, formatting. So again, just distressing those edges. And now looking for some papers to map them onto. So first of all, this beautiful pink with the graph, and then I've also found that yellow floral one, which will look nice. And just doing fairly normal mats for me, just 2 mats that aren't offset or anything behind each of the photos. Pink one first and then the yellow, and I've done the same on both photos. And once again, just distressing the edges as I go. So while I'm completing all these mats, I just want to remind you to check the description box down below to see everybody else who's joining in on this hop. I'll have Ashley's details down there. She's the creator of this wonderful sketch today. And there's also a playlist. So if you go onto that playlist, every day people add their videos to that playlist so that you can just watch to your heart's content with more content being added daily. And because it's a playlist, when you stop and go back to it, it remembers where you were and it'll just keep playing the next video and the next video. So it's a really wonderful idea. It's genius from YouTube to have a feature like that. And it's great that Christie uses that. It's easy for us as creators to add the same list each day to our description box rather than having to look to see who's joined in that day. And it's great for people watching that they can just see all the content together without having to click through individual videos each time. So I do thoroughly enjoy a playlist. So nearly there now with the matting. This looks like it's a 12 by 12 paper that I've used for the yellow. And the pink mat was definitely from the 6 by 8 pad from Fernwood. So just getting this last one cut out. And then of course I'll have to distress the edges. And then they can be popped down. And I do add these to foam just to make them stand out a bit on the layout. Just trimming off the surplus. And here we go with the gorgeous edge distresser again from Tim Holtz. Almost done. I'm quite vigorous sometimes when I'm using this, and it does create some tears. But I'm fine with that. I really like the look of it and the texture that it adds to the layout. So just getting rid of those extra fluffy bits that come off when you're distressing. And now I think it's when I'm going to come... yes, I'm going to start building that layer across the bottom like I mentioned. So I've pulled out from the papers some tickets that I'd fussy cut in, and I'm focusing on the yellows, blues and reds for this. So I've got some tickets from the... Ticket Essentials from 49 and Market. That's what I'm just putting down now. And the stamps are also from those sticker reels. They're not stickers. I don't know why I call them stickers. Ticket reels. And then this blue, navy blue ticket is one that I fussy cut from a paper, as is that red one on the right hand side and the red one above. And then just slotting in other bits and pieces to build up this layer across the bottom. And I'm really happy with how this looks when I've done it. Just working out what else I can fit in here. And where I'm going to put things. Tucking in these labels that are from the Ellie's Studio label stamp. And I pre-stamp them when I've got some spare time. And put them in a little box so that I've got them there ready to use. So the yellow that I've used is Fossilised Amber, the red is Lumberjack Plaid, and the blue is Uncharted Mariner, or Chip Sapphire it might be actually. I think it's it's Chip Sapphire, that blue to go with that lovely Fernwood blue. So just using my wet glue to stick everything down now. You can see I've moved the photos over slightly to the left. I wanted them overlapping that strip coming down the page. If I hadn't have done that, I don't think I would have had enough space to add my sequin circles. I had a little bit of forethought this time. Sometimes I have these ideas and then get carried away building the layout and forget that that's what I was going to do, but I did remember this time. So you can see that ticket's from the same paper that I used as that big strip. So just checking that everything's stuck down. And now coming in with my 225mm foam pads. These are amazing. We sell them at Hey Little Magpie. They come on a huge roll, and they're just so easy to use. Double-sided adhesive foam in small little packages. And a friend advised that if I chop them into strips and put them in a box, it makes it really easy to use. And gosh, she was right. So just working out exactly how these are going to be positioned. And then I can get them stuck down. So the first one goes down first, because obviously that's the most important in terms of where they're going to sit. And then this second one, I just nestle in next to it. Notice a bit that I've missed on my distressing. And get rid of that paper dust. And I decide to offset it ever so slightly against that other one, and I think that looks really nice. The photos are more or less the same, but they're pulling funny faces in each of them, so it was nice to have the two on there together. So this is a camera that I'd fussy cut from one of the papers, so just distressing the edges again there, and then I'm going to layer that a little bit on top of that Flair badge. That Flair badge is from Hey Little Magpie, and it just says feeling good, and the pink matches really nicely. It's actually from a Doodlebug set that I designed last summer for the Doodlebug summer collection, but it works nicely with the pinks in Fernwood as well. So half of it will go on the photo, a little bit overlapping that Flair, and then foam tape to hold it up above the Flair. So that down goes that camera. And then I can carry on building things up around that. So first of all, one of these labels. I do love that Ellie's Studio label stamp. It is coming back into stock this month. We've got an order in for it, so hopefully it should be here next week. So popping that down the bottom. And then I want to add the silver one. This is the new, I have to look at it, Lost Shadow ink from Tim Holtz. I love that. It's just a really subtle pale silver almost. It works really nicely with everything. And then one of these tickets from the 49er market. I think these are the pewter ones. Again, a beautiful neutral to use on any page. And I love these ones that say photographs. It's a set of two, one that says photographs and one that's got arrows on it. And I try and use those on lots of my layouts. I think they're gorgeous. So now I want to add where Ashley's got the stars going up the sketch. I decided to use these wood circles from JD3DPrint, my son's business. We sell these on our Etsy shop and in Hey Little Magpie if you're interested. And they're gorgeous. So I am going to paint those later to match the colours. But for now I'm just sticking them on so that they're in place. And I can see where everything is before I start adding my sequins. So popping some more tickets on. I think I'm going to use that label, and then I remember this arrow piece that I was talking about from the 49er market, Ticket Essentials. So that gets put down there as well. I am sorry, there's all sorts of noise going on. I can hear the ice cream van now. A little label at the top here, and that label I'm actually going to use for my journaling spot later on. There's not an awful lot to say because this is going in an album with plenty of other layouts from the Disney trip. But I just wanted to put something about it. And then this is one of the stamps again from those Ticket Essentials, the yellow pack. Sunbeam, I think it's called. Sunbeam or Citrus, I always get those two confused. I think it's Sunbeam. And then I want to get this red one in as well. And in the end I tear it in half and put one way and one the other. So one's the reverse of the ticket and one's the front of the ticket, and I love how that looks. So those embellishments are built up nicely, so it's time to create these circles. So first of all, drawing around a side plate for the smaller circle, and then drawing around a dinner plate for the larger circle. And I've pulled in my wax thread. Again, this is something that we sell at Hey Little Magpie. This is yellow, comes from the Spring Vibes collection. And I'm just poking holes around this circle, probably about an inch, inch and a half apart, maybe 2 inches apart. And with each stitch, I'm going to add some sequins onto the thread so that it creates a beautiful arc of sequins. And because they're on different stitches, it stops them from all going to one end of the thread. So just using a cross stitch needle, an embroidery needle here to thread that wax thread onto. Tape it down on the back of the paper, bring the needle through the first hole, and then I'll find my sequins I'm going to use. And I've used 2 different types of sequins. On this one, they're a pale gold with a slight pink hue. Really pretty flat sequins. And I'm adding around 8 to each of the stitches. So just threading them all on. And then you'll see I go down into the second hole on this line. And then I come up the third hole from the back to the front, and then down that second hole, so creating a back stitch. So again, adding about 8 sequins on. So down that second hole, so that it creates a continual line, and then back up the third hole before I add more sequins. And you can start to see them building up to create this lovely string. So down the 4th, up the 5th. And just continuing to add those sequins. I won't make you watch all of this. We'll cut away in a minute. But doing all this with these small gold with the pink hue. And now that's finished, I'm just going to snip off the thread and tape it down on the back, and then start again on the second smaller circle. And this one I've pulled out a pack of sequins that have reds and golds in. It's also got clear sequins, but I've just avoided those. And I'm going to use a mixture of the reds and golds, and these are slightly bigger. I think these are possibly 5mm. The other ones were 4mm, I think, or 3mm. And these are cupped as well. The red ones are flat and the gold ones are cupped, and it creates a really nice effect. So adding slightly less each time to the needle this time. I think I left a smaller gap between the holes that the needle is going into. So around 4 or 5 of each on here, and exactly the same technique. So stuck that down on the back with my double-sided tape, and there they are. And don't they look gorgeous? So this is an old Simple Stories Disney inspired book, and I'm just going through to see what else I can add to the layout. So first of all, I find this sticker that says having a blast, and I'm adding some foam to the back of that so it can overlap that photo. And now checking through to see what else there is, and I come across these little circle stickers, and I love circle stickers. So first of all, I'm nestling in that little one that says magic above that having a blast piece. And then I find a banner that says we are here. So I pop that onto the left-hand photo. And then a word strip that says today will be great. So that goes underneath the left-hand photo. And then I find these little stickers at the bottom of this sheet, and I've got some little epoxies that I'm going to use to create tiny epoxy Flair. So I'm just adding some glue to this one. So that was a little star on a yellow background that I've added there, and then I pull off a red circle with a white heart, and that gets added next to that word strip that says today will be great underneath the photo there. And I just love the different texture that brings to the layout. They look really cute, and the epoxy almost magnifies those stickers. So this is going to be my title. It just says magical, because it was magical. The kids loved it. They love the fast rides, really. thrill seekers. And now adding my date with my trusty roller date stamp. And I'm just cutting this out as a strip and sticking that across that label at the bottom. 2014 this was. Can't believe that was nearly a decade ago now. Scary how the time's passing. So just sticking that down with some wet glue. And this is where I go in and colour the wood. So this wood, it's MDF, it can be coloured with anything. I've done sprays but mists before, and I've used my acrylic paints. And today I wanted to use my watercolour pencils. So I'm starting off with the yellow, and then I'll move on to the red, and then the black for the top heart. And I just colour them in dry and then come in with a water brush to activate that pigment. And it just works really nicely. It's another easy way of adding colour if you don't want to get messy with paint. So you could just leave them coloured in like that, but because they're watercolour pencils, I did want to activate those watercolours. So you can see how it just makes it slightly more vibrant. So there's the red and finally the black. I think these are just Derwent pencils, I can't remember, I've had them for years. So adding a tiny bit of journaling to that label at the top. And now I'm just finishing off with some little gold pieces from the 6x12 sticker sheets. Just some gold and some hearts and stars scattered around. And that's pretty much it. That's day 12 done. So thank you ever so much for joining me. Please, as I say, do check the description box down below. Give me a like if you enjoy my videos and subscribe. I normally upload Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday, but obviously through the 30 days of sketches, I'll be doing 31 days of filming. So thanks again, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 13. Bye.